Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol.
Beautiful class as usual. I was just thinking how, yeah, thank you. There are many newcomers to devotional service, probably even on our class reading and discussion, and they may not understand that there are dangers to one's bhakti lata bij. Like we start thinking, all this is hearing and chanting and prasadam is very simple, it's lovely, and all those things are true. But then when one becomes a little more active in devotional service after some time, we learn that there are events which may cause harm or advancement to our spiritual life. And I was thinking how if someone is a gardener, they have to fence off their garden, or in some cases do something to stop the rabbits, other different kind of insects coming and running your garden. They eat up all your small, delicate plants. And I was reading also, I want to read just a little bit from Srila Prabhupada's Hidden Glories, the history which came out a year or so ago. It says here, Bhakti Aloka by Bhaktivinoda Thakur on progressive levels in spiritual advancement. Each and every gradual step has different prescriptions and prohibitions. Whenever a living entity steps to one level and stays there, he is obliged to follow the prescriptions and prohibitions of that step. By following those enjoined prescriptions and prohibitions, one becomes eligible to attain the next step. If one is unable to attain the next step, he falls down to a lower step. That is called degradation. And a little explanation here. Universally, when one acts beyond one's level of advancement, or adhikara, result is degradation. This degradation commonly manifests as two formidable enemies, pride and envy. Pride manifests as an inflated, overexalted conception of oneself. Envy, pride's companion, directs negative thoughts and criticism toward others who are factually exalted. Both will result in offenses to other devotees. One who commits Vaishnava aparad quickly loses taste for chanting or any other devotional service. The natural question is, what is the cure? Recognizing there is a problem is the first step to a cure. This can be done by strong introspection. The root cause is that one is acting beyond one's adhikara. Similarly, many devotees are rushing to sit on the seat of Vyasadeva and pretend to have the power of granting Divyagan directly into the hearts of others, a positioning of themselves far beyond their station and capabilities. So I just wanted to read that. It seems like that is something that could definitely happen. One could, if we see other devotees acting beyond their level of advancement, we could also think it's good for us too. So, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada, Haribol. Yes. We have quite a few people on today's show. Yashodanandana Prabhu, the Zoom call. I was noticing Krishna Katha Dasi's also in California, I believe. Maybe you could share some of your thoughts and realizations with us today on this Srimad Bhagavatam class and discussion. Microphone.
Thank you, Vishwakarma Prabhu and Yashoda Nandana for this most potent and pleasing to Prabhupada format. I'm so enlivened to come to these classes 3 times a week. I'm a bit of a trying to be at least a swan. I go to the temple in San Diego, and I just go there for the deity darshan and Prabhupada's darshan. And I have so many very relatable stories to this discussion today. Darva Bhavana brings up a good point about how watering or gardening the Bhakti Lata Bij. In San Diego, they're giving this disciple class.
Oh.
And I've approached some of the bhaktins and bhaktas after they've graduated. And I said, so what are some of the conclusions? What did you learn? And so far, out of the 6 or so that I've talked to, 2 of them were very much disillusioned by the most important part, which is I'm being asked to seek out one of these initiating gurus, right? That's someone who is posing as a Mahabhagavat and placing the two words next to their Krishna name, which is initiating guru. And they're very much disillusioned by this. So I said, well, who have you accepted in your heart? This is the most important part of your beginning, initiating your spiritual path. And they said, well, Srila Prabhupada, based on his teachings, his books. I said, well, that's who your guru is. If you're following his disciplinary process of following and practicing his disciplinary process, then he's your guru. He's the guru for the next however many thousands of years. I know the 10,000 amount is always putting out there because that's probably the correct prediction or beyond. And so then they become very enlivened and they realize, yes, he's the one I'm mostly connected to. I said, because he's the solid connection. So this is going on in the temples, at least in the San Diego temple, that they're indoctrinating these jiva souls that are very attracted and obviously from their past lives. They're coming to the temple. They're not going to the bar. They're walking into Krishna's temple. And they're wondering and inquiring, just like we all did when we first joined. So what I'm noticing is these jivas that stray and get misguided, they don't stay long. They're gone in a year or less, and they commit offenses, this Vaishnava aparad. And the other point I want to mention is what is created as a result of this bogus system is when I show up and people ask me, who are you and what's your name and who are you initiated by? They always expect me to say some bogus guru's name. I say, Srila Prabhupada. Oh, really? You seem kind of young. When were you initiated? And I tell them in 1980. And they say, this just happened yesterday at the Saturday, Lalitanath, who's the Jagannath mug there. He and I go on Saturday. And this devotee said, how is that possible? He left his body in 1977. I said, no, the system that Prabhupada left us, which is an officiating representative, was still going on in the Los Angeles temple with two groups of aspiring bhaktas and bhaktins. And I was given initiation on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and was told that I'm a Prabhupada disciple because the representative temporarily was, you might say, against the system that mostly Tamal was pushing. Tamal Krishna, let's just say it straight out. I know that most of the time we don't like to say names, but
I do.
There's so much evidence that he was pushing for this, that he called for that devotee to Dallas and chastised him and had a pre-written letter. This is true history. He had I heard it directly from Ramaswar, told me exactly how it happened. He had a pre-written letter and all Ramaswar had to do was sign it. And the letter said, I resign my position and my discipleship from Prabhupada, and I'm excommunicated from ISKCON. And this was in 1981 because Tamal had heard that he was giving the proper initiation system.
Wow.
And of course, we know what happened afterwards. And this is in no way am I trying to defend Ramaswar. No way. He had his transgressions. We all know about them. They're unspeakable things that he did. But the point, though, is this was one of those original 11 was, you might say, bucking the new system. He was going against it and got railroaded out of the movement if he didn't follow this bogus system. So when I explained that this is what was originally set up by Srila Prabhupada, this devotee he's so clueless. He had no idea that had actually happened. And of course, he has one of these poser gurus as his, and I asked him his name. I was being respectful.
Yeah.
But I was able to at least plant this seed in his heart, in his mind, that, you should question. You should ask. So I have so many stories about the police reference that Yashoda Nandana gave, and I'd like to just share one quick one if I could. I don't know if I have more time or Could do it
Go
at
ahead,
another
finish
very
this
quickly.
story,
So
and we'll move to other
I
people. Go ahead.
when I left the movement, it was after the Sulochan incident. It hit me really hard, and I've spoken in detail to Vishwakarma Prabhu about my involvement in that. I was a key witness, and it hurts still today to talk about it because that is one of our first devotees who led the charge against this atrocities laid out in Srila Prabhupada's movement. So
Wow.
he was dealt with in the worst possible way, shot point blank. But fast forward a few years, I'm a police officer in Ventura County. And just like Yashoda Nandana said, these criminals are so attached, right? That cord is just so firmly attached to doing more crime as soon as they get out. They're career criminals. So I coined a phrase. I used to, after taking the photograph and their fingerprints, and now they're in the booking cell, I would just say to them, you're going to become a t-shirt and a car wash. And they would just look at me like, what? I said, you know what I'm talking about. And they're still stunned. I said, because when you're shot and dead, all of these people will come and mourn at your wake and your funeral, and they'll make a t-shirt in your honor, and they'll raise money with a car wash. And that's what happens to all people like you. And that's where you're headed. Is that really what you want to become, a t-shirt and a car wash? And it just stunned him. I said this to several of these criminals, but one of them actually kind of woke up a little bit and couldn't believe what I was saying because it was true. That's where these criminals are headed. To some kind of nonsense funeral about the body, where everyone's sobbing and lamenting over the dead body. So our philosophy is perfect, it's pristine, and the PDA and the Hare Krishna Society is the only outlet I'm aware of on the planet right now, except maybe a few in India that Vishwakarma was telling me got it mostly right, that are actually preaching Prabhupada's message as it is. And so I cannot thank you both enough. I will, for the rest of my time in this body and beyond, be available to you as much as I can be to help you, because you have helped me come back to the movement I remember from the early 80s. And even in 1978, when I first got a book from Maduha, and he introduced me to Srila Prabhupada through an original Sri Upanishad. And then he introduced me to one of Prabhupada's original disciples, Gorsindar. And Gorsindar, he preached Prabhupada's mission and spoke. And sometimes he would just read the purport and not have anything to say because it was perfect. There was no reason to further comment, right? So I had Prabhupada's movement from 78 to 1980, 81. And then it just went in a different direction. We all know why. We all know that history. So I'm very blessed to have Prabhupada's Vani. And Lalitanath and Vishwakarma and Yashodhana had Prabhupada's Vapu and Vani. So what to speak of their position? We know their position is even more glorious because to have the personal association of Prabhupada's Vapu is rare. But the Vani is what we emphasize, and PDA is emphasizing the Vani, because that's really how we get the connection, is by hearing. We know this. And like Vishwakarma just said, the hearing is the connection. It's not the seeing. I have a daughter with one eye, and I always encourage her. I said, go to the temple and see the deities. So you'll always have that memory, because you could lose your other eye. Yeah. And you want to know how beautiful they are. So thank you for letting me speak. I could keep going forever, but you've inspired me both so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu, and very enlightening comments for all of our membership. And these are testimonials of truth. They're not testimonials of falsity.
No, these are from the heart.
Yeah, these are meant to give us insight into how to practice Krishna consciousness. I see you showed